Hey, apartment. I need. What's up? It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on a film I watched last night, and that film is none other than La Chimera, written and directed by Italian director Alice Rohrwacher. So, La Chimera is a relatively new film that actually got premiered in Cannes last year, not this year, last year. It was released theatrically very limitedly, and then recently it got on streaming, it got on VOD, and I was able to watch it. So, yeah, given that I watched The Beast like 3 days ago, I basically watched two recent, fairly recent art house European films back to back. One French, one Italian. And likewise, both films are also critically acclaimed, or at least selected into big festivals, with La Bête being part of Venice Film Festival last year. But anyways, back to La Chimera. This is written and directed by Alice Rohrwacher, who is the same filmmaker behind Happy as Lazaro, which is a film I haven't seen. But I've heard great things about the film, and now we have La Chimera, which is a film about an Englishman played by Josh O'Connor, who is the leader of a group of tombarinos, which are essentially grave diggers who dig graves in Italy for Etruscan treasures from the long time ago, from the antiquities, from the prehistoric times, from the Neolithic times, perhaps. I'm not too familiar with that side of history, I'm sorry. But essentially, it's about a group of archaeologists and tomb raiders, grave diggers, who just dig up graves. But it's also simultaneously about the main character, played by Josh O'Connor, trying to reconcile with his lover's passing. So by digging up graves, he's dealing with mortality and death. So to put it simply, that's kind of the plot. Aesthetically, this film completely embraces the stereotypical Italianness of Italian cinema to the point where it looks good, don't get me wrong, but it's not the most interesting spin on Italian cinema, in my opinion. There's a lot of filmic qualities here, and that's because the film is shot on film, but the warm colors and the wide shots, they just all scream Italian. Even the characters, they all act so stereotypically Italian, and in some way, I really like how the film shows community and shows hospitality, because a lot of these characters are actually really charming when together. They're charming in general. It's like I'm in some town in a Fellini film or something. But individually, all of the characters are kind of one dimensional at the same time. What is happening outside? I have no idea. I'm hearing sounds and it's kind of weird. But anyways, the characters feel a little one-dimensional, and the pacing of the film does feel really meandering. Now, I am fine with slow cinema. In fact, when I went into this film, I didn't expect anything fast-paced, but there's the slow in an enchanting way, and then there's the slow because it's meandering, and I unfortunately think La Chimera is the latter of the two. Or maybe it's because I'm more used to Asian slow film and not European slow film, so oftentimes I watch a slow film from Europe and I thought to myself, if this film is directed by an East Asian director, it probably would have like resonated with me a lot more. But unfortunately, it's just not slow in an enchanting, poetic way, the kind of slow that scratches my itch. And the reason being is that the first half is actually cut and shot in interesting formalistic ways that doesn't necessarily show the viewers to slow down and ruminate in the moment. I know those string of words feel like word salad, but let me explain and elaborate. There are a lot of fun, playful moments. There are shots where it's clearly sped up in fast motion. It's almost like I'm watching a Charlie Chaplin movie. It's almost like slapstick comedy. And then there's even a fourth wall break moment, which I thought was really nice. But these moments don't make the film poetic or magical, in my opinion. They just make the film fun. And by doing so, it loses its poetic slowness that it's trying to achieve. So it's not detrimental that the film is doing these things, but it definitely makes the pacing feel clunky, and it feels like Alice Rohrwacher is doing multiple things at once and they're not working well together. What I love in this film, however, is that the film depicts countryside very well. I'm a city boy, I'm a city man, and I love depicting the city, the buildings, urban. But this film does the opposite, and it does so in a very beautiful way that clearly appreciates the countryside, the trees, the grass, the natural formations. There's also a great scene that commentates on art collection and the hypocrisy of art collection, where the antagonist of the film is played by none other than Alice Rohrwacher's sister, Alba Rohrwacher, who plays an art collecting mogul who just shows up out of nowhere like a James Bond villain or something. Now, there's also magical realism, which I really love. I love, love, love magical realism. But is this film really that magical? Not really. Um, Most parts, and I say most, like 99% of the film, is very grounded in reality. Whenever something fantastical happens, it's always logical and real. There are a couple of sequences that feel that's straight out of like a dream or something, and I really like that. The water temple sequence that happened halfway through the film is amazing. I love the eeriness of the temple. I mean, that's what I love about temples in the first place. Anyways, if you know me, I love visiting temples. And I think the ending is nice. It's quaint, but it's poignant. But I feel like there are better films out there that explore grief and lost love. After Sun, for example, it's not necessarily a film about a lost romantic love, but it's a lost fatherly love. It's a lost familial love, and it does so with even slower pacing, but even more poetry and pain and melancholy. I know it's a weird comparison, After Sun and La Chimera, but it's about grief, you know. But on the other hand, I love films about archaeology because I'm a huge archaeology nerd, and I'm learning more. But I love archaeology. I just love exploring historical things. So yeah, La Chimera is a very interesting film. It didn't quite reach the heights I thought it can reach, but I think it's gonna click for a lot of people. I'm giving La Chimera a strong 7 out of 10. So have you watched La Chimera? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Also, Josh O'Connor's character, little plain. Little plain. That's what I'm saying.